Rev up your engines! Today I'm going to show you how I would diagnose a car that's making noise when it's running. This Toyota was making a noise for the customer whenever the car was running. He said it seemed to be coming from the passenger front side by the engine here, and that the car didn't have to be moving, just sitting there idling it'll make it. So we know it's not the wheel bearings or something in the drivetrain, because that's not even moving. And he also said that when he turned on the AC one time when it was raining outside, it made the noise a lot, and the AC light kept flashing on and off. So that gives me a clue. Now on Toyotas, if the AC clutch acts up, doesn't spin right, spins, and the speed keeps changing, the computer knows that and will flash the light on and off. So there's got to be something wrong with the way the fan belt is driving the air compressor and all the other stuff inside there. Unfortunately, this is typical for a lot of people, he brought it in here, it's not making a sound for me. So what I'm going to do is, I know it's something in the fan belt system, so the first thing I'm going to do is just remove the fan belt and see what's going on underneath it. Now there's not much working room here, so I'm going to jack the car up and take off the passenger wheel so we can access it better. So up it goes, and off comes the wheel. Off it goes, and as you can see, now we can access the fan belts and a pulley to see if anything's going wrong. AC alternator belt, we just loosen this bolt, and another one down there. Top one's a 14 millimeter. That's loose, but the bottom one's an absolute stinker. It's a 12 millimeter, so I got this cool gear wrench with a swiveling head, so I can fit it on and loosen. As you can see down here, there's the wrench, and it fits way down on the head there. But that gives you enough room to loosen it. Once that's loose, you get a giant extension bar in a 12 millimeter, because the top, way down there, it's got a hex that as you turn it, it loosens the screw so the alternator gets loose. You just put your ratchet on it, and you got to turn it a whole bunch of times, because it's going to move the whole alternator. There's a lot of turning on this. And as you can see now, the fan belt's all loose, so we can take it off of the way. Then we can get the whole fan belt out of the way. A lot of stuff in there, so you gotta wiggle it, reach down, twist it. It's always fun. There. Now it's out of the way. Now we can spin the alternator. It spins freely and it doesn't wobble back and forth. And we'll do the whole thing down here with the AC compressor. You can hear noise. That means the bearing on the AC compressor is starting to go out. If you wanted to fix it, you'd have to replace the air conditioning compressor. Now, you could buy a bearing kit with a clutch, put it on a compressor, but from my experience, you replace just the AC clutch and bearing. They're usually worn because the compressor's worn. This car's got like 260,000 miles on it, still has the original AC compressor. If you're gonna fix this noise, you're going to replace the whole compressor with clutch assembly if you want it to be really fixed. And if you look really closely at the compressor down there, you can see the edge of it here has a lot of grease and melted rubber on it. Get my hand in there. Right here. You can see that's all wrong with grease and kind of melted rubber. Now since winter's starting, as you can see here, the old fan belt's starting to wear. I'm just going to put another fan belt on and tell them, hey, see what happens. If the compressor finally goes out, yeah, you're going to have to replace it. But winter's coming on, and as long as he's not using the compressor, if the noise doesn't come back, hey, you can live with that. Because from my experience, you should only put in brand new air conditioners in these Toyotas. The rebuilt ones, not so hot. And if you're gonna buy an OEM original compressor, you're gonna spend a lot of money. And it didn't even make the noise for me when I was driving around. So it's starting to go out, and you never know. Sometimes putting a new belt on that fits the grooves better, that'll quiet it down for quite some time. But I'm assuming when summer comes and it's 100 degrees here in Houston again, it's going to need a new AC compressor. And it's not like he's taking the car to California and back. Just a commuting car. Goes back and forth to work. So if it does break, you can just bring it over here and I'll replace the compressor. And the last time I saw one like this, the compressor didn't actually fail and break the belt for like another 2.5 years. Because as you can see here, when I grab it, you can hear a little bit of noise as I wobble it back and forth. But it's not too bad. It doesn't have all that much play. So it can still go a while before it finally craps out. So I'll slip the new fan belt on, and here's a trick. You place it over the top first, stick it over the alternator first, then reach up from the bottom and grab it. It's easier to get on that way. Then you can grab the belt and start to push it around the bottom of the crank pulley. It's often hard because the new belt, of course, is shorter than the old one. Get an extension bar and a socket that fits on the end of the crank. Then you can put it on here, and as you turn, the belt pops in place. You pull it hard enough and now the belt's over. As you can see here, it goes around all the pulleys now. Then you just need to tighten the 12mm bolt on the adjuster. And a good way of testing is this. When it's good and tight, the belt at the long run here will twist about 45 degrees and it's tight enough. Now this is an older car, it's a 99. So the belt's adjustable. On modern ones they have an automatic tension, you don't have to worry about it. But these, you want to get it with about a 45-degree deflection. Then run the car about an hour. Then check it again because these belts will stretch over time. And if they do, then you just retighten them after they run an hour or two so that they have about a 45-degree deflection, or they don't make any squealing noises when you start up first thing telling you they're too loose. Then of course you tighten down the lockdown bolts. And don't forget the one on the bottom where it tensions it. Out of sight doesn't mean out of mind. You want to get that one nice and tight too. And once you get it on, you can feel it with your finger to hold the tightening end down, otherwise it'll slip out of the hole. Then you just keep turning it until it's tight. There's really no filming room, but there with my little light, there, now you can see how it fits on. There's hardly any working room, but you can use your hands to feel it once it's on and then just tighten it till it's tight. And as long as you got it jacked up in the air, now we're gonna start the car and watch it to see if anything odd's going on. And as you can see, it's not wobbling. It's not making any noises now. So we just hope that that AC compressor, the bearing holds up for a while longer. Like I said, next summer, compressor will probably go out eventually. I'll have to replace the whole thing. But really, since it's not making any noise now, hey, the new belt might even stop it because the old one was worn, had worn edges, and it was flopping around a little. Who knows? Like I said, I've seen some of these compressor bearings when they're like that. They can go years before they finally go. And realize, here's the bizarre part. When you turn the AC on, then it no longer rides on that bearing that's clunking on the clutch. Then it actually spins the entire compressor, and it goes on the bearings that are inside the compressor. It's not the compressor bearings that are making the noise, the air conditioning clutch bearings that are making the noise. So actually, if you ran the AC all the time, it might actually last longer, because then it's not riding on the clutch bearings that are worn, it's riding on the ones inside the compressor that aren't making any noise at all. Strange when you think about it. This car would actually run longer if you ran the air conditioning all the time rather than not turn it on, because eventually that clutch bearing will let loose and the belt will fly off. And in the olden days, it was no big deal because the air conditioner had its own belt and you just wouldn't have air conditioning. But this also runs the alternator, so you gotta have that working to drive the car. So now you know how to check out noises in your car to see if it's something serious or something you might just live with for a while. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.